Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, apologies. Again, I was having technical difficulties, but I think we're on. How do I sound? Okay. Let's see. All right, where we at? So right now, I'm just waiting on someone else to jump on. If not, I'll just start the show. Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link, all right? So how we doing tonight? I know I had y'all listening to Chill 5 music for 5 minutes, bro. My computer's bugging today. All right. Yeah. So today, basically, we're gonna be talking about stuff like, the Matrix reviews, just a little bit. My friend is coming on because there's an anime portion to this that I really want to discuss. Um, I saw a video. I think it came out either today or yesterday, involving why comic books suck versus why mangas are great and how they do politics better or whatever. I just thought it was interesting because they never actually admitted that politics was in this kind of material before, but now they are. So it's like they're trying to shift the goalposts. It's pretty funny. Like Jesus Christ, like they moonwalk better than Michael Jackson did with how they're like shifting the goalposts. Hmm. Oh, he is. Like I really don't want to start the video because I feel like he would love, like I mean love, to react to this guy. My friend would. All right, let me see something. Yeah, I don't see him. So I'm gonna give it like another minute, and if anything, we might start. All right, he's taking his time. All right, I'm just gonna have to go and play the video because I don't want too much airtime. I already kind of taken like 5 minutes out of you guys' time. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, let's just get started. Let me share this real quick. Japanese manga. There we go. Yeah, and if anyone if you want to, just feel free to click the link and you can join. All right, it's an open stream. All right, I'm gonna have to start this video. Oh wait, the doctor's on. Oof. Oh man, yo,
Can
you
you hear
saw
me?
what difficulties I had, bro? Crazy.
Is my mic working?
Oh no, your mic is fine, bro, and I like your whole profile, so it's good. You can hear me, right?
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
bro. I had like 4 minutes of airtime because I couldn't figure out how to pop into stream. Like my computer's bugging, bro. Like I had some chill-fi music playing in the background, so that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's get this started. I'm not gonna be on too long. I know we both got work, so let's do it. So this video is by have you wait first. You know what an anti SJW and you know what an SJW is, right?
SJW
Yeah, like a social justice
sounds
warrior.
familiar. I don't know exactly. I'm not gonna say I know exactly what that is.
Yeah,
So
just like something general. If you know, it's okay. But this guy's like the anti that. So he claims or he claimed before in his other videos that politics or whatever he doesn't like in his media. But look at this stuff, bro. This is funny. I'm gonna play the video. We'll stop
okay.
whenever, and let me know if you want me to stop it whenever you want to comment. But this is about manga versus comics, right? Here we go. You can hear that, right?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Perfect. This is fun.
I think it's pretty fair to say that the East has pretty much dominated the Western comic book market.
That's
yes,
true.
comic books still sell
Mm.
a little bit, but there's really no denying that webtoons and manga, especially manga, have taken over the market. It's pretty embarrassing for Western creators, I got to tell you. Month after month, you see number ones of the same books on charts. That's new fans coming in, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Hold on, I
And
want to
it's
take a
pretty
look at this list. So is this list like for specifically just America? I'm assuming it is. Yeah, I think so, right? But yeah, like seems
Um,
to me that manga is like literally dominating the comic book space or graphic novel space in America, which would make sense.
well,
You
the
know what I
thing is,
mean?
the thing is, like, I can't really see the list. I don't know if you have to full screen for me to see it.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me see if this helps. Oh god, it's the computer issue. I can't believe I'm going through the broke YouTuber phase. That's crazy. Hold on, I got an idea. What I can do is I can do full screen. Can you see it now a little bit, like a little bit better?
Uh, what quality is the video in?
That could be what it is. Yeah. All right. Right now, because of the, hold on, let me see. Yeah, the computer's bugging out, so I'll just tell you what's in the list. So basically, according to this list, right, you have Love Olympus
Mhm.
Volume 1 as number.
consistent.
Wait, what
The only time I've seen a super.
Yeah, you have like Love Olympus Volume 1. I don't know what that is. Have you heard of that?
Love Olympus? No,
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look that up. You have
because
Demon Slayer.
it's probably recent.
Yeah,
Yeah, Demon Slayer we know.
we know. Attack on Titan is number 4. My Hero's number 5. Number 6 is Chainsaw Man. Remember, the anime is coming out in a few weeks. It's pretty hyped. The
Yeah,
rest is like My Hero Academy and more anime stuff. It literally dominates the whole top 15. Here, let me check out what Love Olympus is real quick, just to make sure it's not a comic book. But why do you think? Oh, it's a webtoon. Okay, interesting. So the webtoon is actually dominating America also. All right. So why do you think that is? Like, before we continue the video, like in your opinion,
why manga and them have dominated the scene?
industry. Yeah.
Because it's different. It's very different because comics and them have been around for it's like almost hundreds of years at this freaking point, which is like crazy to say. The highest like
Yeah.
manga stuff you'll see, they're going from 60 to 7 years. So like when you take into account that it's almost 100 years of comics, where even though manga has been around since earlier for Japan, it wasn't brought over here till since the I don't know, because like most people say like, oh well, people knew about anime, but it was like maybe like less than 100 people knew about it if they researched
Mhm.
it. Um, and then basically the most we knew about manga and anime hitting was that if you saw Sailor Moon, Digimon, technically Pokemon, even though when people saw Pokemon, they didn't know that was considered a manga slash anime. So it's kind of like those are the kind of things that we saw. So where I think where anime manga is now is like it just started like recently. It just started to get
Mhm.
into that popular phase where everybody can talk about it, everybody can brand name it, everybody can talk about it on their streams. They're like all anime and manga fans, that kind of thing. So that's just starting for us. Because remember, 2019 90 like 4 all the way on from my memories from all the way to like I would say maybe about 2008 or 2010 people were still
Right.
like, oh, you read manga and anime, that weeb stuff. So
I remember that. I remember that in high school.
Yeah, now they're starting to accept it. Like if you see somebody wearing an anime shirt, or for hell's sake, like I saw these two kids one time in the market. There were literally two kids, like young, like probably around two girls, younger sister of 10, older sister of 12, maybe, and they're literally wearing like small robes of the Demon Slayer, just casually.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. Just
Yeah.
casually. It's funny because like you would have got like I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but you would have gotten bullied for wearing a Naruto headband back in high school. But now that stuff is just like on the regular. Like you said, I just think this new generation, you know how like the older generation, like our dads, they, they identify with comic books because that's what they grew up with. Well, our generation and our kids, doctor, will, they will identify with anime and manga. I think that's just part of their new reality. It's like I don't know. I feel like there's even more anime out than there is like superhero cartoons at this point. I really think that, and I have no proof of this. I'll have to look it up. That superhero cartoons have been priced out of the market. I don't know, man. Like it's so easy to access an anime nowadays, and a good one. There's just a lot of them. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I would say yeah, it's true because there's a whole bunch of animes that keep coming out every season where to get a television show going, since for like Disney Plus and everything, to get a
Yeah,
Marvel show going has to take actors, even animation wise, because they try to do the best of the best with Disney having all the money in the world. Where each season, which is like what, every 3 to 4 months,
yeah, pretty
sometimes
much.
maybe six if they're going with like big seasonal ones like that have second season. They all literally sit in there coming that short amount of time where we can take a whole year for a new Marvel's story to come out.
Yeah, like when if you ask me off the top of my head, the only two like recent big superhero cartoons I can think of is one Invincible, great cartoon, great show by the way. I don't know if you watched it, Doctor, but it's really good for a
It,
superhero show.
it,
Very
you
good.
said Invincible?
Yes, Invincible on Amazon Prime. I really feel that's the formula for all these new comic book, hero movie, hero. What do you call that? Hero cartoons, superhero cartoons. They should go with because
Mm-hmm.
like just like manga, they're facing like real life situations. They have real life consequences, and they break a lot of the formulaic stuff you would expect from a superhero cartoon. And I think that's the way to
Right.
go. And then the second one would be What If? Although don't know how that is. I don't know if it's good or not. But those are the only two that come to mind. Manga, anime, we can just
Mm-hmm.
keep spinning it off. We can just go blah 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 blah. You know. So it's just a
Yeah.
weird dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Now, just get back to reacting to this video again. In this video, from here on out, he's gonna try to prove why. He's gonna say that manga is better than Marvel or DC or comic books in general because the manga is not woke. So just to let the audience know and explain to you, Doctor, woke nowadays is anything like, oh, if it has diversity or if it has some form of politics they don't like. Now, in this
Mm-hmm.
video, what he's gonna do is he's gonna kind of change the argument and be like, no, I like it, but I just don't like it when it's forced or feels forced. Now, when I say it like that, doesn't that kind of seem vague? Like, when does it feel forced? Like, other than the obvious, you must like me because of this. Like, I don't know.
Well, well, let's go. Since I can already tell you've probably like already it seems like you've seen a little bit of the video. So let's like hear the rest of it, and then
Yeah.
we'll like go off that.
All right, sure, let's do it.
Superhero book from the West cracked this list right here is when Batman and Fortnite had a crossover. And I'm pretty sure that was for some codes to the game or something. So it's just undeniable to me. There's a lot of reasons why this happens. One, they're not beholden to Western politics, which are a dumpster fire right now.
That's true.
Both sides have a thick line drawn between them, and they're both heavily polarized. I really don't see that changing anytime soon. So when you decide to go in a certain direction, you risk turning off half of your customer base. And it's always the same half, too, the conservative half. You're not allowed to tell any kind of conservative any kind of conservative leaning stories in the Western market. But in Japan, they can tell whatever the hell they want. They're not beholden to
True.
Western Twitter. And this is one of the reasons that I think you're getting good stuff from there. Attack on Titan is a really good example of that. Look at this, Attack on Titan Volume 1. Look at that's new people coming in and checking this series out for the first time. I don't think you would get Attack on Titan from a Western developer. I don't think you would get Rising of the Shield Hero from a Western developer.
I have a question, Benny.
I mean, there's a list I can go on and on.
All right. I did agree with some of his points. Like he said, for example, that there's a line between the two political parties, whatever. I don't really want to get too much into that. That's true. He says that there's not enough conservative material, which I agree with. There should be, although I would argue that art usually isn't that conservative. But yeah, there should be more. I'd be down to see more of that from that perspective. I'm not afraid of that, right? But
for to see, you said with the consumer stuff.
Yeah, like more to have more like conservative type of media, as in not like Fox News. I'm talking about like more conservative movies, I guess, or conservative comic books, whatever. Which I'm down for.
Yeah.
Even though I think art in general tends to be more progressive, and I'll explain. I'll do a video on that. But here's what I want to ask you: is he says Shield Hero? He uses that as an example of what we couldn't do here. I have a question. Shield Hero specifically. Do you know anything about it?
I know about. I know about Shield Hero in the sense of the how many people have watched it and told me about it, and basically give me a premise of the story about it. So,
is it true? And I don't know because I have not checked it out. Is Shield Hero kind of a thing where this character is accused of like assaulting a girl or something like that in the anime?
I think so from what I remembered, but in general, like Shield Hero has a lot of a mix of battle manga and story wise and a whole bunch of things. It does a lot of things, a little bit of everything, like gives you a bit of everything.
So here's my question, and while we're talking, I'm gonna look this up because I don't want to be wrong about the plot, because I feel like that was the whole thing, right? It was a big like. Like I remember there's like a big controversy around it. So the Rising of the Shield Hero. Okay. If the Rising of the Shield Hero, they made like something, an American version of the Rising of the Shield Hero. Yeah, maybe they wouldn't have the whole what do you call it when you try to kill the guys with like girls in skinny clothes? What is that called again? There's a word. Fan service? Yeah, fan service.
Yeah.
Right? Of course they probably wouldn't have the fan service. But the idea of basically being accused, right, or falsely accused, right? I'm pretty sure we have movies like that. Gone Girl being one, where the dude is falsely accused, and it tells you that the woman is actually lying, right? So I don't know. I feel like if that came out today, like in America, right? I feel like these guys would be all over it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because instead of the girl being in the right and the guy being in the wrong, they would be like, no, we like this. But I don't know. That statement isn't really that true to me because we do have a movie that has a similar plot. That concept, I mean. But what do you think? Do you think we could get something like Attack on Titan over here, or do you think like the material doesn't like vibe well in America?
I think America is too well because I've discussed this before on certain lengths. I think the people of Western wise are now catered so much to the media such as Twitter, Instagram, and anything that has a high end count of people that review YouTube as well, because like it's just a business for them. So now they're listening to all the fans and going off of what the review says. Where they were like, okay, let's look at our critics and see what they say. They'll listen to something say, but they wouldn't listen to everything. They'll just say, okay, we agree that this was probably bad, so we'll work on this. But it's like now I feel like every time someone says this was bad, this was bad, this was bad, this was bad, they're like, yep, they're all right. This was all bad. We got to change every single little bit. And I'm like, Yeah, no, then you're basically saying that you're a drone to the social media masses, and you basically have no creativity of your own.
That is true. Basically, there is a new atmosphere where the writers have to cater to everything the fan base wants. There has been a call for that. In terms of what he's arguing, though, another thing I realized there's another movie actually that came out literally a few months ago that this same guy basically didn't even watch it, but he criticized the hell out of it without even watching it. The Last Duel. I don't know if you've seen the trailer, Manny. That's also about like being accused by a woman, and from what I hear, the ending is very ambiguous. You don't know who's lying or who's not. But anyway, um, one last thing, and we'll continue the video. The Attack on Titan, and I think I told you this, Manny, but like the main meat of that story, right? It's about genocide, and it basically kind of parallel, like it kind of references World War II and the Holocaust. We have a lot of stuff that
Mm-hmm.
does that. So I don't know what he means. Like we wouldn't be that wouldn't be too hard to that kind of story wouldn't be anything that I feel like that Americans or Westerners would run away from. So that one's a little bit of a weird example. But
Mm-hmm.
let's go on. Maybe the show hero is the fan service, but
about. But one of the misconceptions is that a lot of the critics of this will say, well, manga has always been political.
Yeah,
Western readers just never realized it.
that is true.
No, we did. The difference, though, is the creative talent. Okay, you have diversity of thought in Japan, and you can tell whatever kind of story you want. You can't do that in the West. In the East, you can. You can't do it in the West. And yes,
All right. This is BS. What does he mean that you can't tell whatever story you want? That's my first question. And then second, I know many. It sounds like I know this guy, but it's only because I've seen this dude's videos before. What he used to say,
Mm-hmm.
until he started getting criticized, and a lot of these guys, is that politics was never a part or was. I want politics out of my manga or my shows, my books, everything. Then, because he's been criticized a lot more recently, now you see what he's doing. He's like saying, "Oh no, what I meant was I just don't like the way we're doing it, and I don't like the fact that we're not getting a lot of conservative, like right wing, like pro Trump stuff." And my question is, Manny, can you make an independent
Mm-hmm.
like yourself if you wanted to? Can you go make an indie movie about Trump or like how Trump is great right now?
Yeah, you can make anything. Anything can be created out of anything. It's just you have to let go of whatever fear you may think it may happen of you
Exactly.
trying to make a movie or any independent film.
Yeah, unless like you're not going to be, despite what they're telling you, you're not going to be canceled. First of all, the canceling thing is a little bit over exaggerated. But for your movie to be canceled, it would have to be like the movie Birth of a Nation, which came out in like the 1930s. Man, you don't want to know what that is. That thing is so extremely disgusting, right? Now, unless it's something like that, just because you go pro Trump or whatever, now you might get some flack, but I doubt you're going to get canceled. And if you do it properly and it's entertaining, you'll have a huge fan base for it, right? Ben Shapiro,
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys, if anyone watches Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, I don't know if you know, man, he started his own production company and he's making movies with his views, none of which are getting canceled. They're not really getting watched. But if you guys are serious, go watch his movies. Go support them. Go fundraise if you want more conservative movies. Because the thing with Hollywood,
Right.
right, and we know this, Manny, Hollywood is not even doing new original stuff anymore. They're just taking old properties from the 80s, the 90s, or they're doing superhero stuff. So I'm sorry, your ideas are not going to be represented in those material because they're just going off of old stuff. So make some new things, And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How do you feel about what I just said?
No, I agree. I agree with that. I've always thought that already with a lot of people who are scared to do certain things because of whatever the media says, et cetera, et cetera. So I've always been about that.
Yeah, they're not going to cancel you for that. You would have to do something extreme, like, I don't know, something really extreme, like out of the norm, kind of, to get canceled. Like, I wouldn't worry about it. Hell, bro, like,
Mm-hmm.
they try to cancel, what's his name? That funny guy, Dave Chappelle on Netflix for making trans jokes. He's not canceled. He's fine. He actually made a lot of money. There's people who hate him, but who cares?
Yeah, and that's a whole another subsection thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get on to this.
there's politics in anime and manga.
I'm glad
But
you
guess
accepted
what?
that.
Guess what?
What?
They're done by much better writers.
I can agree with that. Yes.
And they also do
For
it
sure.
in an entertaining way. This
That's
is
true.
the funny thing about this whole
Tiger guy's
politics and
extremely
entertainment argument. Is a lot of people will say, well, there's always been politics in comics. There's always been politics in entertainment. And
Yeah.
they're right.
I'm glad you agree.
There always has been. But the difference is it used to be done by people that were far more creative and could do it in a way that it was entertaining to everybody.
Okay, let me let it play for a little bit. I got to counter that. Hold on.
Now, the way it's done is it's done by saying, well, if you just don't like this, you're a bigot. Okay. Oh, you don't like Miles Morales? Well, you're a racist.
Who says that? Who said if you don't like Miles Morales?
Racist.
You're
Man,
a
said racist.
I know many, you and I, we live in like a bubble, and we live around a lot of diverse people. But I never heard someone say, "I don't like Miles Morales," and then someone go, "Oh, because you're a racist." That's, I don't know. I've never seen that in my life. But whatever. Maybe we're living in a pretty,
There's so many new words, so many words and titles. Trust me, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's been saying racist.
Yeah, like he's making a joke, but he doesn't want to say the word on YouTube. The R, the racist word or whatever. But no, unless you said I don't like Miles Morales because he's this color, he's black or whatever. Then yeah, I'd be like, okay, that kind of seems a little crazy. But if you said you don't like Miles Morales because you prefer Peter Parker because you're used to it, well, guess what? Like I know a lot of people who think that way, right? So
yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Chris doesn't like Miles Morales. Oh, yeah, our friend, I'm not saying his name, doesn't like Miles Morales. And he's black himself, so it's fine. I mean, I don't know what he's talking about. But let's keep going on.
There is no, oh, okay, well, you just don't like this. No, they go after fans and they attack the fans, and the stories are heavily political, where we're at the point where it's just very obvious and it's not very well done. And it's just there to shoehorn stuff in. Like when you see characters running around giving like their identity to people straight up on the pages, that's not something people do.
Yeah, there is an issue of that, specifically in comic books nowadays, Manny. I have heard of that. That part is a little true. And it's weird to me because where they'll be like, I feel this way because I'm this color, or I'm this way because of this identity. In comic books, I've heard that is kind of the case. Like it's super liberal. But I would say, like, what this guy is kind of trying to get at is, yeah, you can write that much better without just doing it. Because that's lazy writing, in my opinion, right? But if you take Hunter x Hunter, for example, I know I'm bringing up Hunter x Hunter, Manny. Get that. Doctor, give that. But if you, for example, in Hunter x Hunter, there's a character named Aluka, and then there's, the character Killua, right? Aluka is his sister. But it's actually, and like in reality, his sister's a guy, he's a little boy. But basically, it's like a transgender illusion. But they don't outright tell you that the character's transgender. They don't say it, but it's transgender. And his family doesn't like it, as they call it, because it's not normal. Like the whole thing is like a whole allusion to whole like family. Some family members won't accept certain people for their identities. So it plays it really well though. But what I'm trying to say is, to me, that's woke. It's just better written than it would be maybe in America. You know what I mean? Yeah. But on top of that, what he said earlier, right, was something like, what did he say? He said something like, "Oh, well, the politics, and when America does it, is like the visa, but the politics in Japan isn't, or whatever in the West. I mean, in the East isn't." I don't know if I agree with that, man, because we've heard stuff where basically even in Japan or in other countries where they get mad at the author for certain things they write. Right? Like, have you heard stories of that? Like where the mangaka, like people got mad at him, or
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's two different worlds, especially in Japan. Japan as a whole different world of a lot of things that they view is it can either be important or not important. Where we may see it as important. Even the whole thing with Hunter x Hunter, like I don't exactly think that they're trying to produce a transgender situation with his sister slash being a brother thing. That's probably not even the case because again, Japan has been always about the traps, as you say, where a a guy dressed as a girl can fool you in that case because there's just some very pretty looking because if you actually see there is actually a lot of very pretty men out there that can actually dress, which on Twitch there is a lot of those that use it as their main attraction to the show.
Yeah.
A lot of them dress up as a
We call them
girl,
femboys.
and then you find out
Yeah.
yeah, because that's but in Japan they I don't think they have title. They don't really have titles. Like Japan, every time people think like, yeah, sure, maybe some Japan have gone into it because they've seen what we've done and they're part of it. But what I can tell you, where we can say, oh, the masses of the Eastern or Western, however you want to say, basically follow titles. Yes, I'll agree with that. But Japan, there's no such thing as the masses. That's not a thing for Japan. They will never be masses because a lot of the things that they see of America, they'll honestly think that we're being stupid and like crazy, you know. And then some things they will enjoy out of us, maybe like our foods, maybe our way of doing things, like how we can choose to marry anybody we want, and we can basically leave our homes at any point we want. They may find those things, but trust me, there are certain things that we do in the States that Japan is just like, all right, y'all are fucking wild. I don't know what the hell your problem is.
Yeah, and I have to look it up because I know Japan is traditional in a lot of ways, but in other ways, and maybe it's just the media I'm watching. At least the media that they have seems pretty progressive to me, bro. Because like, let me give you an example. Togashi, right, the creator of Hunter x Hunter. I remember in the '90s Yu Yu Hakusho where Yusuke he was fighting this girl, or what we thought was a female, but remember, like he kind of saw like under her skirt or whatever, and he's like, oh, you seem like you're confused. He's like, but whatever you are, I'm still gonna kick your ass. I don't care if you're a man or whatever, right? Or something like that. Like, but the way it was done, I remember I was like, man, I don't think you can get away with doing that today. Like the way he's like, hey, if you're gonna be it, make sure you go all the way or something like that. Like it was pretty rash.
Again, and in Japan, they'll write it still,
nice.
and they won't care. They don't care how you view it because again, they don't follow the Western masses or like stuff like that. Even if they get ridiculed, they're in the end they're just like you're an idiot. But because a lot of people are gonna fight against that. But again, that's a whole subject on that can go away. So
but I guess what I'm saying though, like, right, you can see the change, like how, and I'll speak about Rocky too. I'm gonna finish the video also because Rocky is known for that too. But like you can see the change in kind of his writing, right? Because you went from that to like how people should be accepting of a Luca character. I'm rambling on about Hunter. Let's get back to the video. We'll go to JoJo's work. I think you're more familiar with, so we can talk about it.
So Screen Rant put out this article. I'm not going to read through it. It's an article on the obvious that Akira was political, and Full Metal Alchemist and this Ishbalan conflict, stuff like that. Like it's obvious that stuff's political, but it's well done. And at the end of the day, it's done to make the entertainment better. It's not done to slap people in the face. And this article got posted on Twitter, and people were destroying it. It's got ratioed. Lofty Pixels here with a pretty good response. This guy says, LMAO, let's not even talk about old manga. Let's do an easy one. Naruto. Even the most casual fan knows that one. That anime is drenched in politics between the different ninja continents. Lofty Pixel says, no one is annoyed with politics about different ninja continents. And he's right.
Yeah, but basically, and I think you get mostly the point of this video. Basically, in this video, again, he's pointing out. Again, he kind of changed his argument, but whatever. No, he's just pointing out that he doesn't actually mind that there's politics. He admits it finally, but he's saying that like, oh, it's just they write it better, or it's not obvious, or et cetera, et cetera. And I agree with certain points, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. I don't know about the divisive part. I really do need to do more research, like you said, into like Japan, and if they had negative reaction before to certain stuff, I'll have to look into that. But what I do know is that like, yes, it's true. I feel like there's certain stuff that if we're just comparing comic books, that they could do better in terms of how to handle politics or diversity. That mangas just flat out do better. That part is true. What you think of the video?
He's informative with it. Because again, he's not talking about too much. He's talking about basic thing of the politics, but I mean, again, I don't think the politics are really necessary to be putting in the video. But I think it's because he's talking about what other people have been talking about Twitter because they always like to pull that up. But he's basically honestly stating that very well that the Western and between the basically America, the States, and Japan, the way they write their stuff is completely different, which I agree with. But again, it's not like they're perfect. There's a lot of things that some of them get wrong, but that's more of like with, I would say, with video games, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I definitely have to say with video games it's like that. Because with video games, it's like they're the video game companies from Japan or here are actually really much listening to all fans, which I'm like, some of them are not, but a lot of them are. But when it comes to the shows and movies, even anime movies in general,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing a lot of things that they want to do off of their culture. Maybe they look up stuff that some of the states go through and try to work on that as well. But from what honestly that I know of, these people do not will in the end will literally not care about it's like, oh, you didn't put titles in here, and you need to be concerned about how other people may feel about that. And they're like,
Yeah,
we're not here to worry about you. We're here to
yeah,
deliver an entertaining story or an informative story off of actual, and I hate to say it like this, actual things that are important,
yeah.
that matter.
I will agree on one point. I do definitely think that, especially in America, like the media is really because the thing about it, you gotta think about it, it's a business. So they're really, and our culture is a little bit different than a lot different than Japan. So they're trying to appeal to like everybody, and not only in America, but they're also trying to appeal to like all around the world. While I feel like Japan is just super embracing of like, you know, they're like, nah, this is how we did it, and this is how we will continue doing it. Just release it like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And it works for them. I'll give them that. It works for them. But
Yeah, and in the end, a lot of people are going to say they hate something, but then they turn around and they say they like it years later. So it's like
that's true.
everything somebody says, you can't take it to heart because, like, I don't know if you saw, like, this literally was just happening a few hours ago.
Mhm.
Everybody now is literally, remember Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, that was like the worst Spider-Man, blah, blah, blah. Andrew Garfield didn't do it justice, yada, yada, yada. Now, look, now they're wanting him to come back for, basically episode 3, like the third movie. And I'm like, you see, it doesn't matter what somebody likes or somebody does. Everybody's going to turn around and say they like years later. But it's just like, oh, no, it's just because of this. And it's just because, I'm like, no, in the end, y'all are kind of fraudulent when you think about it. Because in the end, you guys said you didn't like it, and you have to hold that. For the people who did like it, good on them.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm gonna say this in terms of the argument that it's because when America handles politics or the West handles politics in their movies, comic books, whatever, it's highly divisive. But over there, it's not. And I want to see if that's true because let me tell you right now, you've played Metal Gear Solid, right, Manny? I mean,
I played the first one, and I've seen playthroughs of it. So
okay. So I don't know if people know, but I'm talking about the original Metal Gear Solid, like the one written and created by Kojima. And though in that series, that game is extremely political, especially like the original ones. basically like you have like characters like the main good guys, right? They talk about they literally praise and talk about communism and the communist revolution in like South America. They like praise what's that dude's name? Che Guevara, a historical political figure that a lot of right wingers would hate. So that to me, if released here, and I know a lot of people missed that because we were young when we played the games, so you didn't really know what that meant. But to me, that is divisive, right? I don't know if it's divisive in Japan though. I don't know if Japan cares too much though. I would have to look into that. But that's just one thing I wanted to throw out there. But I'll look into it. Right. I want to say this. You brought this up yesterday about Iraqi and JoJo's. All right. So I've heard this argument before, mostly from reactionaries, where they'll be like, why aren't the men in our media like these strong, muscular bound guys like in the 80s or whatever? But in the same breath, they'll praise JoJo's. Here's why I find that to be weird. You remember how JoJo's generational or whatever? In the beginning, bro, like JoJo's, most of the main JoJo's, right, the protagonists, right, they were like all three of them, like part 1, part 2, part 3, they were like big and muscular. But if you look at it, he starts moving down the guys, part 5, part 4, part 5, and on and on, right? And then they weren't these like invulnerable guys. Like they're skinny, they have more vulnerabilities. He kind of messes with their sexuality. Like they're very like flamboyant and how they're like dressed and stuff like that. Hell, bro, part 6, it's a female JoJo's, a strong female JoJo's, bro, right?
Yeah.
And they get mad at Spider Gwen, like you said, but they're fine with Jolene. Make that make sense to me, bro. I don't get it. Make that make sense to me. Like, what do you think that is, man?
I honestly couldn't tell you because I like both of them. That's Jolene is my favorite. Jolene is my favorite JoJo's because again, I read the manga prior. Again, I don't want to be like that guy, but way before people even knew what JoJo's was. That's just how it is. That's the facts. But legitimately, people are just again very fraudulent on what is actually like. They're very fraudulent on what they say they don't know about, and they want to be part of it, and it's all due to validating their streams because again, I don't understand why it's a problem to not say you didn't like something at first or anything. To me, when people say they didn't like something at first, or when people say that this is brand new to me and I'm just getting into it, because people like that, because then people, if you're watching your chat or whatever, they get to tell you why it's so amazing, what parts they liked about it and everything. But imagine someone's like, yeah, I know all about this and everything. What do you have to talk about then? Half the time, like you'll have maybe one or two things, but then it kind of loses that. So I never even like when people do it. Like for example, if at one point like I said, I'm not much of a big as a Sonic fan as I was. But what if I turn around and the next week I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get back into be like a diehard Sonic fan. I'm not lying that I was that way because I can prove facts of all the games I play, what the stories are about, all these other things. But so many people, and this goes to anime and manga especially, so many people, the minute something comes out that's popular, they're like, yeah, I totally read that. And I'm like, okay, then talk about it. They're like, oh, no. I see, like, I may have forgotten it was a while back. And I'm like,
and to go off what you're saying, because you're spitting the truth. That's what you just said was the facts. What it is basically because it's easy to dogpile on comic books right now because manga's in the up and up. So like kind of like what you're saying, they're doing it because it's like, yeah, most people don't read, so they can't fact check what you're saying because most people don't read it in the first place. So these streamers, they look at the comments or these YouTubers or whatever, Twitch, whatever, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna bash the hell out of these characters because it's easy to hate on those characters right now. Because again, most people don't even know the first thing about Spider-Gwen. They just see female Spider-Man. But what they do know is JoJo's Jolene because it's on Netflix and it's hot right now. So you're right. I do think a lot of people are just like the bash stuff when it's called the bash stuff because it generates views, clicks, and then money. So it's a popularity contest. So you're right about that. But yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, no, I was just saying exactly. I get what you're saying. But yeah, I don't want to keep you on too long, so I'm gonna end this. But Doctor, we gotta have you on again because you came with some facts, bro. You really did. So if there's any more other like anime or manga stuff, or you watch a movie with me, sometime, then we'll talk about it. Okay?
Yeah, and I don't mind if it's like since this is a shorter video because I know a lot of people do things like that. So I know this is a little bit longer video, so I don't mind doing it when I have time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. This is fun. I'm gonna stay a little longer and talk about Matrix because I have it in my title, but I haven't seen it.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, like, the reviews that it's getting, quote unquote. And I'm gonna talk about that in the
Right.
video. Yeah, you don't have to stay on if you don't want
Okay.
to. You know
Uh,
how to quit.
yeah, I guess I'll jump off. I'll jump off for now just because of the timing. But like other times I'll stay on longer. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I know how it is, bro. All right, thanks. Peace.
all right, no problem.
Oh God. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm gonna react to these guys' videos. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. I promised you guys, and I'll do it. But what do you guys think of Doctor? He's pretty cool, right? He's a cool guy. Cool guy. All right, let's do it. We're gonna react to the Matrix video done by Midnight Edge. Speaking of grifters, let's do it.
This video is sponsored by Surfshark. The Matrix Resurrections is upon us, and naturally, it screened early for professional critics.
Notice the title. It's The Matrix Resurrections, Will of Time, and Lord of the Rings, all given the Star Wars Last Jedi treatment. Nani? Um, I don't know what we can base this off. Like, what proof do you have that it's going to be like The Last Jedi? You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
The reviews were decidedly on the mixed side, but one review stood out from all the others, and got all the more traction for it. That would be IndieWire's David Ehrlich, who tweeted, "The Matrix Resurrections, despite and because of its infinite goofiness, is the boldest and most vividly personal Hollywood sequel since The Last Jedi." This tweet served the dual purpose of telling all of Ehrlich's fellow activist friends in the industry that they will approve of the movie, while signaling to everyone else to abandon all hope. You see, Star Wars The Last Jedi has proven to be a benefit to audiences in a way not intended by Lucasfilm, as it's now the perfect barometer to assess if something is subversive crap or not. So if it can be compared with The Last Jedi, you know it can be good for audiences.
All right, so
Thus,
I looked at some of the reviews. That was like one guy who said that, or a gal, I don't know. It was one person who said that. I don't know, like, so from one tweet or one person's opinion, I guess he or her is more trusted. I don't know what the relationship they have with the channel. Maybe he's a reactionary person. I have no idea. But really, we're really gonna compare it to Last Jedi. And notice that they threw out the word subversive. I have a video coming out hopefully this week talking about how this word subversion and the other word deconstruction is being used to signal, like, it's basically being used like wokeness, where it's trying to signal the great replacement theory, like replacing white culture or whatever with these new diverse characters or whatnot. I don't know. I don't see where they're getting this from, especially since Neo and Trinity are going to be prevalent in this movie. Like, they're the two main characters. It's not like it's a new character, taking over or something. But whatever.
Star Wars movie can be used in such a manner is of course no surprise to fans of Star Wars, but there are many other fandoms who are only learning of this concept now, as their favorite properties are getting the Last Jedi treatment. In this video, then,
What property
we will,
is
as a
getting
public service,
the
reiterate to
Last
those
Jedi
who
treatment?
came in
What are you
late to the
talking about?
party exactly what The Last Jedi did, and why most people would consider that bad if that treatment were applied to anything they like. Further illustrating the point,
What are we talking
we'll
about?
apply it to some other franchises where the fan base either is in the process of or soon about to learn what it really means, namely The Wheel of Time, Sex and the City, and Lord of the Rings.
I have not seen
Finally, we'll look
The
into
Wheel
what
of Time.
happens after The Last Jedi treatment has been applied.
How can you? What in Sex and the City is like The Last Jedi? I haven't seen it, but if anyone has, please tell me. I don't really get it. And we haven't seen Lord of the Rings at all. It hasn't come out yet. Like I don't know where they're assessing this part. Like where the how are you predict? Like you have like some crystal ball where you can like predict that the Lord of the Rings is going to be bad and it's going to be like the Last Jedi. And is the Wheel of Time really like the Last Jedi? Like I have to watch it for myself. I want to warn you guys that with these people, they make these grand assumptions or they're uncharitable to a lot of things because they really wanted to position certain shows to be something they're not. They did the same thing with The Witcher, and now they're like slobbing on his knob now, like a season later. So don't trust these guys. Just do your own research. Watch the stuff for yourself.
As we look into the current state of Star Wars, shortly before the premiere of Book of Boba Fett on Disney+. Over the course of watching this video, many a fan may get upset with what's happening to their favorite franchises and feel the urge to cancel their Prime Video Max.
By the way, their favorite franchises. I don't know anyone, and maybe this is just a generational thing, that knows what Wheel of Time is. So I'm just saying.
Plus,
Seems like it was dead to me.
Ever subscription, because why pay for this frustration and take to the high seas instead? Please note that this is something neither Midnight's Edge, our sponsors, nor Protection Tool, which guarantees Star the international 83% off. When The Last Jedi was released in 2018, it subjected the Star Wars franchise.
My job doesn't offer health insurance.
Hold on, we got stupid ads. All right, so you guys see where it's going with this? It's funny. I literally do have a video that I'm working on right now that's about subversion and deconstruction. I'm just going to give you a little hint. It's nothing like what they're telling you it is. Movies would actually be in a worse place if there was no subversion. I'll put it that way.
Franchise to a mean-spirited deconstruction, only to give it an
deconstruction, and it's not a deconstruction, by the way.
Ideological-driven makeover. For generations of audiences, Luke Skywalker had been a hero, an everyman who was thrust into an extraordinary situation and was forced to grow and mature to become a better version of himself. He was the perfect distillation of the proverbial hero who had to undertake the hero's journey, seen in myths from every culture on Earth and stories told around the campfire since the dawn of time. His order was the Jedi. They were good and represented the light, and they fought evil. And as a result of this universal appeal, Star Wars was loved by generation after generation across the world. But not everyone loved it, and with The Last Jedi, someone intent on tearing down cultural institutions set out to subvert expectations and reshape the Star Wars franchise according to their liking. To this end, the hero Luke Skywalker, now an old man, was made...
The way they make it sound, it's like this evil plan. It's like, oh, they're reshaping culture or whatever. I mean... I'm going to spoil part of my video. In The Last Jedi, it's at the end of the day, it's still a celebration of Star Wars. Was there some cheesy moments and really bad moments? Yes. Was it a good story or chapter for Star Wars? No. I didn't mind what they tried to do. It's just the execution was poor. What do you mean by like reshape culture? Like what exactly are you talking about? Like adding more diversity? Like there wasn't even a lot of attention to that. Like, I don't really know what they mean by that.
To be a pathetic, miserable, bitter loser, and the Jedi were made out to...
Pathetic loser. I don't know about that. I don't think that's where they were going with that. That's just your over-exaggeration of what happened.
Be, at best, misguided, and at worst, evil. The fans were told that their love for this franchise was problematic, and that their heroes and stories of the past needed to be buried to make way for a more diverse and female-centric change of direction.
Told you, this is all just a way to take a shot.
To this end, the baton of series lead would be passed to an innately perfect new hero that needed no journey. The changes were of a nature that would please radical social justice activists, but in the process, they ended up putting off the built-in audience. Consider the comic meme of the persons...
All right. I want to point out something real quick. Okay? So when they say that, like, oh, it's to tear down old characters to build these perfect new character in Rey, where she's perfect and doesn't really have a journey. First of all, she sort of did have a journey, right? And second of all, that would actually defeat the purpose of it being deconstruction, right? Because usually in deconstruction, characters face real realities and face real consequences, okay? So this is why I say that it does have deconstructionist aspects in certain characters, like in Luke. But at the end of the day, Star Wars is actually a reconstruction. Reconstruction. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up. It's basically criticizing and then rebuilding from the ground up to learn from some of the mistakes and make it better, or what could be criticized and make it better. Earlier in the video, he said something about, oh, it's like it tells a hero story that's old as time itself from the beginning, where it's just a good guy with a sword, and he just basically kills bad guy and saves the day. If you just look at that simple premise, that is kind of boring, and it's like, wait, there's no morality to that. That's not realistic. So that's where I see why they try to add the deconstruction, you know, to it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe analyze the morality that goes into it. You're telling me that like a hero can never basically have his moments where he's tempted. For instance, where Luke is tempted seemingly by the dark side of the force, and he senses it and he's like no, and he gets this traumatic response where he lights his lightsaber, and you guys know what happens. Now I'm not trying to say that's like the perfect scene, but I could see why they did that. Okay, but no, Star Wars is not deconstruction, because if it really was, trust me, it would not look anything remotely at all like Star Wars if it was a deconstruction. Dune is actually a deconstruction, and it's a deconstruction of the space genre and what people's ideas of how, like, oh, if we had technology, humanity would be better for it, stuff like that. This is not, and being a Mary Sue has nothing to do with deconstruction or subversion. So that's just bad writing.
Standing outside the fan base, demanding changes to suit them, which caused everyone else to leave, only for them to afterwards leave as well because they never cared about the property in question. This is what happened
Ugh,
with Star Wars:
I
The Last
forgot.
Jedi.
I just want to add. Um, he's trying to take the line as real, or as like that line is exactly what Star Wars is about, and it tells me that he didn't really understand the movie, or chose not to purposely. I don't know, but the line that Kylo Ren says, "Kill the past." No, let the past go. Kill it if you have to. To Ray, notice Ray didn't take his hands. In fact, she basically screamed, like she basically rejected that idea. Both, the whole movie, especially in the second half, well, not the whole movie, but the second half is like basically the third act, basically counters this point and says, no, you can appreciate the past, but we should also be able to learn new lessons and adapt to the situation. So, yes, it is trying to tell the honest that, hey, you guys are the older generation. We need to adapt to the newer generation. I mean, that goes along with capitalism, right? You have to adapt or die. So, the reason why deconstruction is important and reconstruction following that is because if you don't do things like that, your franchise will probably end up like Star Trek, old, bitter, and soon forgotten. Because right now, Star Trek, because everyone, well, not everyone, the old fan base really had problems with what J.J. Abrams was doing with it. As soon as they got what they wanted, it bombed. Talking about Star Trek Beyond. Now they don't know what to do to capture this new audience. They're having a really hard time. You don't want to be like that. Unless you just want Star Wars to stay how it was and just be forgotten. I don't know. You let the Star Wars die with you, I guess.
The end result was a subversion of the cash flow Star Wars generated for Disney because it caused the audience to flee en masse. This is, of course, well known. And
that isn't true. That isn't true at all. And he's showing this graphic, but 2 billion, it's still $1 billion franchise. So that's not true at all.
a repetition for Star Wars fans, but
I do think they have to reset and change the direction of where they want to go with the series. I definitely do think that. And you need to have a coherent storyline. Okay. That's what they need to do, because part two, The Last Jedi, doesn't feel like it belongs, or it seems like it totally rejects The Force Awakens. Like, it destroys everything that The Force Awakens set out to do. It doesn't feel like they're similar at all, right? And then you have the third one, which feels like it rejects what Star Wars: The Last Jedi does and tries to course correct and get back to where Force Awakens was. There's just no coherent, there's not a coherent through line, if you know what I'm saying. It's all over the place. It's like they didn't know what to do. Like they're indecisive. That's the issue.
Fans of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time are learning what the Last Jedi treatment means in practice right now.
I'm curious. I don't know anything about this.
The Wheel of Time is a series of high fantasy novels by American author Robert Jordan, which draws on numerous elements of both European and Asian mythology, most notably the cyclical nature of time found in Buddhism and Hinduism, the metaphysical concepts of balance and duality, and a respect for nature found in Taoism. When a live-action series adaptation was announced for Amazon, many were excited for it, only to realize upon seeing the finished product that there was no reason to. What's more, there never really was. To illustrate what happened with Wheel of Time, one only needs to look at the series' development history at Amazon. Before Amazon had acquired the Wheel of Time rights, they were already developing a series based on Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian from showrunner Ryan Condal. That series was shaping up to be excellent, until the two executives who had greenlit it were Me Too'd out of the company. They were replaced by one Jennifer Salke, and her job wasn't.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know. I haven't read these stories myself. I don't even know if it's that good. Let me check. Wheel of Time. What's the reviews looking like? The reviews are actually pretty good. What's he talking about? I'm confused. Am I tripping? All right, let me show you guys. I'm getting really tired, so this will probably be where we ended, but I want to show you guys this. All right, so if you see here, it's at 83%. That means most of the critics loved it, and a 75% audience rating. I'm telling you, I really have no idea what this is about. I really have to look into it. The ratings are good from what it seems. I don't understand. Like, are they trying to say it's like a very feminist heavy story? Like, I have no idea. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it. But it seems like it's doing fine. I don't know like how many people are watching or not, but audiences are fine with it, 75%. So we'll have to do some research on that. All right, guys, thank you for spending time or spending some of your time tonight to watch my video. It was fun. Next time I'll try to drop a video essay and I'll come up with some other cool topics and other guys to dunk on. All right, y'all. Thank you for checking out Real Life Podcast. Take care. Peace.